Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin' with Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging on, tuning in. They had to click. Some of them had to Google, type entire words to get. However you got here, thank you for getting here. Subscribe. Come back over and over again. Hit the little bell. You won't have to do any of that because you'll get notified on your phone whenever we go live with another creative artist, author, filmmaker, musician. Man, we've got creative minds of all kinds. And we are hanging out at MegaCon 2019 right now with steampunk comic creators Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon.
Hello.
Who's, what it looks like they've got over here are they got Heirs of Isildur.
Close enough, close enough.
Damn it, we did that 3 times before I was on camera for me to screw it up on camera. So, okay, guys, Tales of Isildur.
Yep.
Tell me.
Okay, so Heirs of Isildur is a steampunk comic where steampunk comics and metal collide. When we say that is because...
Steampunk, comics, and metal.
Yes, because there is a 12-track metal CD that goes along with the comic series. We like to say that...
So I get a comic and I get a CD.
If you buy them, yeah, you do. Or yeah, absolutely. So what it is you've got a...
Take my money.
That's right.
Already.
So we've got these series, we've got 10 issues out of it right now, and we say that the storyline unveils like a vertical line in the issues, and then there's songs on the album that intersect at horizontal points. So if you want to get a character origin story for one of the characters, say, hey, you want to know more about this character? Go to that song on the album, and you can go and get a little bit more exposition about that character.
You know, one of the things that I think is really cool about that is sometimes we forget that our musicians are also storytellers.
Absolutely.
You know, we get so caught up in the rhythm of our music that we sometimes forget that there are stories, not in the rhythm and in the music, but also in the lyrics, and that's awesome. You like reminded people, hey, the sequel is in the song.
Absolutely.
And then more later, and wow, that's how did you decide to do this like mash up thing that you're doing, man?
Well, I was a musician for many years, and I took a sabbatical from playing, decided I wanted to get back into writing, but I wanted it to be a little bit more than just songs. And steampunk allegorically really meant a lot to me because it's all about taking things that are old, repurposing them, making into something new and more futuristic. And that allegorically is what kind of happened with some of the lyrics for the album. So that allegory turned into the more literal steampunk representation. That representation turned into an ebook that then turned into a comic series, which is one of the reasons how Steph and I met and merged our talents together. For Heirs of Isildur, I am the creator and the writer. She's the editor and the story consultant. We have many other titles we do. We have a company called InSymmetry Creations, which is where all of our titles are housed. We have a title called Tales from Nocturnia that was just successfully funded on Kickstarter, which spins off of Heirs, where we co-write. And then Steph has a title called The Accursed that is picked up by Alterna Comics that'll get released in February of 2020, where she's the one that's the writer and I am her support and her co-writer on that.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys meet and decide, hey, let's just launch a whole conglomeration of mashing everything we love together.
Exactly.
And you didn't have to talk you into it or anything?
Well, he may have twisted my arm a little bit, Dave, even.
Because I could see the gauntlet is holding back the sprain. She's like, what?
That's right.
You want to do what?
I think we both came, when we met, we were in the same place where we were, writers and creators, and we were trying to kind of find our way in this pool of indie comic creators. And we realized that we almost kind of wanted to tell the same type of stories, that we had the same goals, and we just kind of were talking, and things sort of organically happened to where we said, you know what, it's easier just for us to have all of our stuff together under one umbrella and to avoid
and that is
confusion.
the beautiful thing about this community, isn't it? Is that when you're a part of this community, you make those links.
Yes.
And you meet those people that have similar goals and similar, storytelling. Some that are completely way over there. Hey, you're doing something completely different than me. I've never met a competitor at a convention.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I've met another kind of creator.
Exactly.
But I've never met a competitor because we all just want to see each other go.
That's what we say all the time. We just want to see everyone else succeed too.
Yeah.
The phrase high tide raises all ships, especially in the comic world, is so true.
It is.
Many new artists, and I know you
Yes.
guys have seen this as you've done this.
So many new artists spend all their time on the docks with a jacking up their own boat.
Yeah,
And they don't realize if you could be part of the storm, they'd all come up.
Yeah, exactly.
When we launched our Kickstarter, we were just talking about maybe 90% of our first set of backers were all comic creators or other people in the industry from the West Coast, from the East Coast, because I'm from Florida and she's from California, so we got to hit both coasts with a lot of stuff. And it was great seeing these people come to support us and help us build our brand. And we've done the same thing. There's a lot of comic creators over on Artist Alley. I know a guy named Aaron Fajaro, who's in 248. He's a guy that's kind of new to the scene. He said this is the first big con we've done, and we're trying to help him just like other people have helped us to be able to raise our game.
And so how long have each of you been working professionally in the creative arts?
So I started in 2017. I've always wanted to be a writer, and finally got to the point in my life where I was able to start putting pen to paper, basically. Had a bunch of stories in my head. And
yes,
said,
there are pens and there are paper.
Yes,
you can actually,
I know that sounds archaic,
if you
but
move your hand like this, it will work.
Words come out onto the paper. It's
They do.
magic. So I started, just kind of writing down some of the ideas that I had, and my first real comic was a one-page comic that I did with artist Javi Lapara, who's working with us on our Heirs title now and several other titles that we're going to have. And submitted it to an online competition, and it was finalist. And from there, it's just been one thing after another, just getting to know people through that opportunity.
Most difficult part of getting started as a professional artist?
It is putting yourself out there to get to know people. Because if you don't know people, you're not going to have a support system. You're not going to find other opportunities that way. It's really hard to, and you feel like you're walking around in a desert by yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have that support system. So that's.
How long have you been a professional artist?
So started December of 15 was when I decided I wanted to get back into the writing and getting back into creating again. I was in a band that toiled in the underground for many years, but I would say it's only been the last few years, and I feel like I can say that
When a
again.
guy in a steampunk hat says the words "dwelled in the underground," you have to give it a whole new meaning.
But I would say it's been the last couple of years that have really been hard and heavy. The first Heirs issue came out in September of 17. The first video for the album came out in March of 17.
Wow.
And just been cranking it out ever since.
What was the most difficult part of reigniting that for you?
The most difficult part of reigniting was, and Corey Steger, who's the original guitar player of Under Oath, who played on the album, we both say the same thing. It's you feel sometimes like you're a wave crashing on the sea, on the shore, and you're like, yay, I've got this energy, but then that wave goes back out and settles, and it's making sure that wave doesn't crash and then come out too quickly. You got to keep that energy going and going and going, fighting through the tough times. When we just did the Kickstarter, that was one of the big things for us. It was a microcosm of extreme highs and lows every single day, and that is the life of a creator. One day, one moment a day, you could feel like I've got it all together. Later on that same day, you're like, nobody likes me and I can't do anything right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Guys, well, everybody sees us when we're on camera, when we're at the booth, or we're in control. We own the space.
Yes.
Nobody actually understands that when you're creating anything, half of your life is spent wondering if your parents made a mistake having you.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
That is so
We have
true.
very fragile egos. So if you see
Yes.
a creative artist walk up and say, "Good job,"
Be nice to us.
yes, be nice, because we're fragile. We go home and we're like, I really do suck. And then the internet kicks in, and they
that's
confirm
your
it for
enemy
you.
right there. Yes, that's the
They're
worst.
horrible. They
Oh, it's
confirm it for
scary.
you every
It's
time.
scary.
I have people buy my book and then leave a review, and I think, oh my God, I feel so bad. I actually want to walk over to their house and give them their money back, and then I see that they've read 20 books and they've given like Alan Dean Foster the same review.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah,
That's
now
right,
I feel
that's
better.
right.
Yeah, now I feel better. If I suck as bad as Alan Dean Foster or Kevin J. Anderson or one of these guys,
Yeah.
I'm okay. Cheryl
I'm in
Kenyon,
good company, right?
I'm in good company. So, what issue are you guys on now? Heirs of Isildur.
Heirs, we just released issue 10. Issue 11 should come out sometime later in the summer. We will do a trade version of that as well. Right now, the main focus has been Tales from Nocturnia, the medieval spin-off.
Okay.
That one just funded on Kickstarter. We're just getting issue 1 finished right now. Our artist he's in Guatemala, so he sends us things. We've been sitting at the table, and he's been sending us some of the last couple of pages as we go. Once we get that done, then we'll be able to jump back on issue 11.
That's fantastic. That is awesome. We're going to put links in the description down below so you guys can find all things. What is the umbrella company again?
InSymmetry Creations.
Symmetry Create. It's pretty easy. Symmetry Creations. Look for the links down below. Find this stuff. I had a question, and then I forgot what it was. In front of you, my 10,000 best friends.
So I think you were going to ask me where my love of steampunk came from.
I think I was.
I feel like maybe
And I
we
feel like
mind
we're not
melded.
going to give her any credit at all.
No, not at all. There's not even somebody standing there with a whiteboard that has that.
No,
Nope, not at all.
That's the figment that comes with me
That's
in my
right.
imagination.
We will not break down the fourth wall right now whatsoever.
Fourth wall's there. Where did your love of steampunk come from?
That's a great question. So, for me, like I said, part of it came from the allegory of making something new, taking something new, repurposing it into something, futuristic. But from the actuality of it,
What draws you to the aesthetic?
that's in the aesthetic is being in music. I did the whole black thing. I did the goth thing. I wanted something different. I wanted something that people can have fun with. You can't look at somebody in steampunk and not feel a little bit of whimsy, feel a little bit of fun. You see anybody dressed in steampunk, there is fun going on.
I know what
with
it
what they
was.
do.
He wanted to get out of the black, and he wanted some color, but he still wanted the guy liner.
That's right.
Hey, you know what? You got to have the guy liner.
Boom. Look at that. So, what draws you to? What do you love about the aesthetic of steampunk?
I love the concept of, like Matt mentioned earlier, taking something old and making it new again. I love the whimsy
Me too.
of
It's
it.
why at my age I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, don't we all wish that we could do that? Maybe that's part of it.
That's part of it.
And honestly, to be completely honest, I sort of fell in love with the steampunk concept after reading Heirs, because I had read the first 2 issues before I jumped on board. So I was a fan first, kind of a fan first.
Yeah, no, that's actually great because
Yes.
People confuse often steampunk with because of its tie-in with the Industrial Revolution and the Victorian eras. They often confuse it as entirely retro. And we actually had a conversation where we had to explain to a fan one day that no, steampunk wasn't created in that era. Jules Verne wasn't a steampunk writer. He was a futurist.
Yes.
Yes.
When we look back at Jules Verne, he looked steampunk because he was working with the technology he had.
Right.
Whereas when we do steampunk, you guys make a choice.
Yes.
You have microchips, you have iPhones, you have all these things to choose from, but you choose industrial era stuff to repurpose into technology. It's a great aesthetic and it's an awesome idea. I love to read this stuff. It's fantastic. So
Sounds great. Well, we brought you a copy. This issue is going to be yours, so we brought you one of these so you can read
see
it.
what happens when you milk it long enough on camera? You get given stuff. Guys, we have to wrap it up. We've been having a great time hanging out with Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon, the creators of Heirs of Isildur.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go.
Hang on, that's right. Also from
InSymmetry Creations.
Okay, find the links down below. In the meantime, thank you so much to Rick Shea and the team at Famous Faces and Funnies, to Jake Estrada, David Grace, and Chuck Fresh over at Indie Originals and Space Coast Comics, Jay Bauer, Josh Bauer, and Jay Bauer Art for all the set art that we have right here, and for doing a live painting today. He's raffling off a live painted oil on canvas today.
Awesome.
For children. What is it called? Yellow Brick Road. It is for children with congenital heart disease. Right. So we're having a great time with Jay Bauer Art, Krypton Radio, Foxwood Wine Company, and our great friend Yvonne Mason over at Off the Chain Radio. These are the people that share our videos on the World Wide Web. We hope you'll do the same thing. Stay tuned in, stay logged on, and see who we're hanging with next.